Hey there, YouTubers, right? So in this video, we are going to go over the BIOS for the Gigabyte B660M DS3H DDR4 motherboard. And we'll hit most of the menu. Some of the stuff I'm not going to talk about. A lot of stuff on here. You know, it's hard to be an expert on every little detail of this. So you will basically get the quick and dirty version, all right? Now, as you're booting up your computer, you're going to hit delete to get into the BIOS, and you will see the first time you go in easy mode. Later on, you may end up in easy mode or advanced, but you know, we'll cover that in a little bit. So what do you see right off the bat in easy mode? Well, up in the upper left corner, you've got information here, okay? Here's our motherboard. We talked about that. BIOS version F2. I haven't looked up the BIOSes yet. We will do a BIOS update video. Hopefully I'll put that link down below. But this is probably the first release, or F1 was the first release. You see the CPU here that we've got in here, that wonderful Cellphone G6900. RAM, 8 gigs. Now, this shows you what slot the RAM's in. So if you have a pair of identical RAM, you'll want to go with A2, B2, all right? And this should be overclockable RAM, so I should be able to hit XMP, enable that, and boom, 4133. Now, will this actually run at 4133? That's where you go to the manufacturer's website and verify the RAM compatibility, okay? I've probably got a video out there to show you how to do that. Very important that you do that before you buy RAM for this motherboard. Boot sequence, we do not have a drive on here, but you would see multiple drives on here if they were here. Some information about the computer itself. You see the CPU temperature, and I have a 120 millimeter single tower CPU cooler on here. That's why those temps are pretty low. So devices attached, no SATA, no PCIe, and no M.2. Now, if you had a graphics card, you should see it in there. If you have hard drives, you should see that there. If you have M.2 NVMe, you should see that in there. We've got one fan going. That's the CPU fan. And you can see from here 3 fan headers, okay? So in case you're curious how many fan headers, you've got 4 total, but 3 for case. Now, one of the places you can update the BIOS is right here. Like I said, check out my BIOS update video when I do that. That will help you prepare for 13th gen, folks. So let's go ahead and jump over to advanced mode. And you may end up in tweaker or favorites. Let's just go left to right. This is providing a lot of the favorites that are on here. And I don't really use this screen too much, but you can see what's in here. Let's jump over to tweaker. So I'm not going to go over every name on this thing, but you see here, there's our RAM. And it is actually, folks, if we hit the enter button, assuming I find the right keyboard on the desk here that's plugged into this thing, it is set to run at 4,000. So a good chance this motherboard does not support 4133. Advanced memory settings. I'm clicking enter to go in there. Here's where your timings are, if you want to mess with that stuff. And I'll scroll down so y'all can see that. Now, some motherboards hitting escape doesn't always work. That's what I'm using to get out of here. Okay, hitting it again. And no, I don't want to do that. So now we've got to go back to hitting tweaker. So you see what we have there. And we will open up. I don't know if we went in here. Did we go in here, folks? No, we did not. So this menu, pretty important. The things you can do in here. Power limits. You know me, these are one of my favorites to mess with. And they have limited settings in here. So these are pretty much all auto, enable, or disable. Let's back up. Alright, so it didn't like that. So we got advanced. We'll go to advanced voltage settings. You see that information. CPU VRM. What you can do here, internal VRM control. And that's going to do it for tweaker. Let's jump over to settings. Platform power. See what you have there. And you notice in the bottom right or bottom left, it doesn't tell you you can hit escape on this menu. So just a little tip there. We got all this information here. I don't want to open up every one of these, but guess we'll have to. Oh, if you have that annoying app that pops up, folks, for these guys, this is how you disable it, okay? And I am definitely going to kill it. I can hit escape here on this one. Super IO configuration. That's what you got there. We got to speed this up a little bit, folks. USB, network stat configuration, NVMe configuration. Of course, we don't have NVMe's hooked up to it. SATA configuration, that's what you'd see there. VMD setup menu. And Realtek. So, jumping over to system. Basic information about this. Another place to update the BIOS here. All right. Now, if we had hard drives in here, we could mess with the boots priorities, but we don't have any. So, secure boot. And then, folks, this is a pretty basic BIOS. We could save and exit, but one thing we didn't talk about, smart fan. So you only have one fan in here, and usually there is a way to change the speeds up. Yeah, there you go. Silent, which should be the slowest, normal, full speed, and then manual. All right. And folks, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks for checking it out. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.